Hello, everybody. My name is John Tournour, and today I'm going to be talking about how elite coaches build people and culture, not just players. In this TED Talk, we're going to talk about leadership, culture, emotional intelligence, the NIL era we live in, and mental health, because at the end of the day, sports is more than a game, and the coaches need to be able to be putting the players in position not only to succeed on the field, but whenever sports is over. So, first, we're going to talk about a lot of the factors that many athletes face today because today's athlete is under a lot of pressure. The modern athlete carries more than we realize. Some things that the athletes carry nowadays is NIL expectations. Can you imagine making $5 million in college like Cooper Flag here at 17 years old? I don't know how I would handle it. One thing that's really changing college sports is a transfer portal. Working in college sports, I see this a lot. It's created a lot of instability because it gives players the ability to leave a program, a place of development if things aren't going their way. Also, social media pressure is another major thing where after playing in big games, players are receiving 150, 300 DMs talking about how bad of a person they are from people that don't even know them. And I think another thing that's really affecting sports we know for younger athletes is sports gambling. Many athletes in the 90s, 80s, 2010s didn't have to deal with sports gambling at this prominent of a level, and it's affected the way fans watch the game, how advertising has gone, and I think it is just a very new experience that needs to get under some guardrails. Another major thing that is getting talked about is the family slash financial expectations. Many families think their son or their daughter is the prodigal son for their family, and they drain their family member because of all the financial expectations they have to carry the family. And that's not always the athlete's job. Many athletes are coming up from situations that they know nothing about. They've never got these um, experiences before. And it's important because many athletes today are facing academic and job demands that weren't there before. Students are going to class online now, not going to as much on-campus time. And now in the NIL era, there's actual job demands for these deals. You have deliverables you have to get done. And athletes like Cooper Flag that has to do their Gatorade commercials, autograph signings, you name it. It's a lot for athletes in this day and age because it's not normal. This is a new space and everybody's trying their best. But at the same time, coaches need to be able to put these athletes in a situation to make sure they're focused, disciplined, and ready to continue to ball out. So, first, we're going to talk about two of my favorite coaches and what great coaching is. Nick Saban and Steve Kerr are two of the greatest at setting a culture and making sure coaching is to that level it has to be. And first, we're going to talk about, like I said, what makes great coaching. To me, it's not all about the X's and O's. It's about the Jimmies and the Joes, as they say. It's about the players. At the end of the day, it's the players' team. The players are the ones who make the plays, make the best decisions because the coaches can't make a catch. They can't shoot a three. They can't kick a free kick. That's the player's job. And the coach's job is creating a one of one culture to make sure the players feel heard and understood. Because at the end of the day, coaching is also about developing the human, not just the player. And in sports today, especially in the fast-paced NIL era we live, it's only about developing the player, and the human aspects of a lot of things are getting lost because at the end of the day, we're in the relationships business here in sports. And if you don't have a trust relationship with your players, it's hard to be successful no matter who you are as a coach. And finally, what I've seen from Steve Kerr and Nick Saban is consistent, diligent work and practice. These guys are animals on the practice field. They love practicing and putting in great work, not only to better their team, but to better their culture and make sure they're reaching the highest standard possible. So, first, I'm going to talk to you about one of the supporting sources I read and give you a little quote about Nick Saban and why I think he's special.
Three things that I think always help me. First of all, have compassion for other people. Treat people like you would like to be treated. Treat people nicely on your way up. You might meet them on the way down. So it's nice to be important, but it's also more important to be nice. So that was the first thing, compassion for other people. The second thing is be responsible for your own self-determination. You got to earn it. Don't look at somebody else. Don't blame somebody else. You be responsible for your own self-determination and have accountability for what your job is and what you need to do. And the last thing is it's not about beating the other guy. It's not about being better than somebody else. It's about you being the best that you can be. We won 26 games when I played Pop Warner football in a row. Then we won 30 some in high school in a row, and it was never good enough. And I could never understand that. But my dad said it's not about beating the other guy. It's about you being the best that you can be at whatever you choose to do.
This was a major quote to me because one thing I learned from Nick Saban is the process is always over the outcome. You have to focus on the process because at the end of the day, the standard is greater than the scoreboard. Four takeaways I had from Nick Saban's article is that discipline, habits, the process, and resilience is all that matters. You have to be disciplined in your work. You have to work your hardest every day. You have to have the best habits in the world. You have to be working to create great habits. You can't have habits of somebody that wants to be just getting by. You have to be the greatest. You have to focus on the process because you can't always control the outcome, and you have to be resilient in what you want, really showcasing what you want and making sure that you're resilient in the process. Next, we're going to talk about my research with Crawford. Crawford and his article was awesome because it really opened my mind on how to be successful in the sports world. So, this article was my first research for this TED Talk, and we're going to talk about just what Crawford was talking about when it comes to building a team culture. So, this article is called Coaching Teamwork, Team Sports Athletes and Coaches' Perceptions of How Coaches Facilitate Teamwork. The first thing that really hit my mind from this was you have to recruit character. The best coaches and the best players create the character and culture of the team. Simple as that. What comes to my mind is Steve Kerr and Steph Curry. Steph Curry is the most consistent person, and because of that, he helps create that culture for the team. Next, coaches need to assign roles clearly. Many players today don't know where they stand in their role, and it creates a confusion and ultimately has them lack confidence because they don't know where they're at in their role. Coaches who build relationships and clarity improve the teammate connection and trust because everybody knows what their role is to be successful at the end of the day. And then finally, coaches need to create a safe environment. The most successful teams develop teamwork through intentional decisions by the coaches. So coaches need to create that culture to make sure at the end of the day, no matter what happens, players feel safe in the ability to speak up and talk about what they need to do to get done. So at the end of the day, the best players and the best coaches control the culture because they have a working relationship filled with trust and both understand the roles needed to be done to be successful. So this was from the Coaching Teamwork, Team Sports Athletes and Coaches Perceptions of How Coaches Facilitate Teamwork article I read. This was actually from four authors, Crawford, Arnold, McKay, and McEwen. But I really gravitated to what Crawford says, and these were his three main keys from what I read from his article. Next, we're going to talk about the four C's of performance. And this article I read from Assessing and Maximizing Collegiate Athletes' Psychological Skills Under Constraints. And I think you can use the four C's of performance: concentration, control, confidence, and consistency, no matter where you're at in life. So this article was done by Chu and Petrie, and it all really set back to these four pillars and why it's needed to create a successful culture for leadership and management of a team. The best coaches know how to concentrate on the task at hand. They're not focused on the future. They're not dwelling on the past. They know how to concentrate in the moment and control what they can control. Because at the end of the day, you have to control all the outside noise and not let it gas you up or deflate you, because that's what really gets at your confidence. And players nowadays are losing confidence faster than ever because they don't know where they stand and they're not in control of their situations. Coaches need to be not transactional. They need to build off their relationships and help these players understand that, yes, football is very important, but you have to have the confidence in not only your football life, but the work you do in your everyday life to make sure you're successful in all facets of your life. And that's from being consistent. Because at the end of the day, the most consistent people in the world are the winners. And if you have the confidence, the mental control, and the mental concentration, you can knock anything out in your life. So this article from Chu and Petrie, I really think you can apply to any part of your life, not even if you're just a coach, a management role, in a leadership position. These four C's of performance can really be applied to anybody's life, and I think all people should really look after them. Next, we're going to talk about what athletes need to be successful after the game is over, and that's a list of things, right? Many athletes don't have the safe communication that they have from their playing days. They're learning new things on the fly, and most athletes need a consistent routine. There's not a lot of Max Crosby's and Kobe Bryant's out there, but by having that routine and that consistency, you're able to keep your mind off of how you're done playing sports while also focusing on what's ahead and in the moment. So by helping athletes have safe communication, they can build relationships outside of sports. So when the game is over, they have relationships and people they can trust and have leaders in their life to really make sure they're pushing themselves in that next phase of their life and they don't feel lost, because at the end of the day, that's how athletes lose confidence. When they're not good at something, when football's done, and then at the end of the day, um, it's just over and they don't know how to react to it. And then before you realize it, their confidence is slipping. They go into depression. And before you realize it, we can see cases like the Cowboys, Marshawn Nealon, and RIP to that. That's a crazy situation. And I'm praying for his family. But at the end of the day, this is the job of the support staff of the teams and making sure people are there to reach out and the athletes have the resources. So when their game is over, they can still be successful in whatever they want to do. So I appreciate everybody. Coaches have a major role in today's society, and it's a great place to be. I want to thank everybody that watched this. I want to thank you, Professor T. This has been another great assignment. If you can take anything from this assignment, please take that. Coaching the player and not just the person, because every athlete deserves leadership that prepares them for life, not just sports. And that comes from people in leadership roles, but that doesn't mean it's just coaches. That's the support staff, that's the people around the programs, the fans, donors, boosters, to really lift these athletes up, because before you realize it, sports is done. And I want to make sure every athlete's in the position to better their life through sports, not make sure anything's bad. So I want to talk to you guys later. I appreciate everybody that is watching this, and I look forward to talking to you guys soon. I appreciate it.